Moses hit the rock so we don't die. 10 tablets on the earth, that's when your son first hit the planet. And you came in flesh, that's when your word first turned Jurassic. Now I know you put your spirit in that Bible. Oh, and he started walking in the field. Moses, get the disciples all your manna up in the body, and they ate from him. He gave them piece by piece. He gave them food to eat and wine to drink, water to reap. He saw. Messiah sowed his fruits straight to the 12. That's why we here. Them great gospels that they wrote down up in our mind will never fall. No man on this earth could ever conquer what you did. I know what you said. You give us greater gifts to give, but I know the Messiah is the one only. Is the one. Put all of that pain up in your name, left you inside. We gave you some showers full of flowers, let you die. Left your throne from high to come on earth just to come die. Left your throne from high to come with us just to come die. No other God. Nah. There's no other Yah. Nah. I feel it in my spine. Nah. Nah. No man on this earth could ever conquer what you did. No God on this earth could ever conquer all you did. From the river to the water to the kids to the humans, now we live. No anointing point, how you live. So don't feed your sheep, and that's exactly what he did. Paul, John, Peter, I apologize to you, treacherous death you had to take. Just to let you know right now, I wouldn't wish it on the heathens. I apologize. Every letter that you wrote up on that paper, man, I need it. And the Father know I need it.
Baby.
I need y'all. I don't do this music for clicks and likes. I do this music because it's my therapy. It's my way out. It's how I cope. Barely holding on. I'm trying to be strong. Yeah. Yeah. Running out of patience. Running out of strength. I'm trying to endure. This ain't one attempt. Endure to the end. I don't wanna sin. I don't wanna fold. I don't wanna bend. I need your strength to strengthen me right now. This world is cold, it's trying to break me down. The King of Kings, please come and take your crown. The 7th trumpet, please just let it sound. Gonna rush the end. Know some people still gotta get in. Know some people still gotta repent. Have mercy on my soul. I'm thankful for my bros. They pray for me, they fast for me. You love me if you chasing me. I'm trying to keep that in my mind. Trying to stay in the spirit. I'm trying to trust in the Lord. I keep my hands on my sword. I'm fighting all these demons. Feel like I'm getting tired. I'm trying to kill the flesh, but it's all in my mind. Lord, can you save me? I feel like I'm weak. You said that's when you're strong. I feel so far from home. This ain't where I belong. Feel like it takes so long. Dear Lord, I'm crying out. Dear Lord, I'm crying out. I'm crying out to you.
Blue money chasing that bag.
Yeah. The dark days make me appreciate the bright ones. Hair like wool and his face look like lightning. Set the example, I'm trying to live like him. Yeah. I made a promise I wasn't going back in the world. Cause them streets keep calling, leaves keep falling. Swimming in them living waters, feeling like I'm drowning. Satan on my head, it feel like he got a bound. I'm indebted to the Lord, living to the day he crowned me. You can take this body, you can kill this flesh. I'm clean through the word, Lord knows I was a mess. I'm clean through the word, all my sins I confess on. I know it's a test, working hard as I can, cause I know this ain't my risk. And I'm living through these curses, but I know I'm blessed. Gave my burdens to the Lord and he took away my stress. Yeah. Lord, let it rain on me. I know you won't change on me. Can you break these chains off me? Yeah. I don't wanna be a servant to sin. I wanna endure to the end. If you got a grudge, make amends. If you want mercy, then learn to forgive. Shout out to the 144. The Lord still knocking at the door. We still got that blood on our door. Praying for the day he coming up the scope. I see what's ahead like a scope. That bread is his body, eat a loaf. I wanna be a sheep, not the goat. Been through a lot, you can hear it in my flow. When it's hard, put my face to the floor. And my chosen, only the Lord knows. 1 woe, 2 woes, 3 woes. Tell Pharaoh to let my people go. Lord, can you rain on me? I know you won't change on me. Can you break these chains off me? Lord, can you rain on me? I know you won't change on me. Can you break these chains off me? Lord, can you rain on me? I know you won't change on me. Can you break these chains off me? Chains off me, yeah. Don't change on me. Let it rain on me. Let it rain on me, yeah.
All right, Shalom, y'all. Shalom, it's Brother Nashan with New Wine Congregation of Israel. Want to give all honor and glory to the Most High God, Yahweh, by Hashem Yahweh Shai. All right, it's in His name that we do all these classes, and we give all esteem and glory to the Father in the name of His only begotten Son. All right, tonight's class, most High willing, it's an edifying one. It's going to be called "What Are You Teaching Your Wife?" All right, as men in this truth, we have a heavy responsibility. If you're a husband, you have an even heavier one. All right. To the men that are married, all right, this is gonna be a class for us. All right. You want to be mindful of what you teach your wife. All right. And whether you know it or not, you are teaching her something. All right. So let's go into the precept that this class is built off of. Let's go to the book of Sirach, chapter 9. And we're going to start at verse number 1. All right. It says, "Be not jealous over the wife of thy bosom, and teach her not an evil lesson against thyself." All right. So you don't want to teach your wife an evil lesson against yourself. All right. We're going to examine that, Lord willing, through the scriptures this evening to see how you can do that. All right. Let's go to the book of First Corinthians. First Corinthians chapter 7, and we're going to read verse 28. First Corinthians chapter 7 and verse 28. All right, what did Paul say? He said, "But and if thou marry, thou hast not sinned. And if a virgin marry, she have not sinned. Nevertheless, such shall have trouble in the flesh, but I spare you." So he didn't say you might have trouble in the flesh. He said, "You shall have trouble in the flesh." If you get married, it's not going to always be easy. You're going to have ups, you're going to have downs, you're going to have some good times, and you're going to have some bad times. You're going to have some tough times. But as the man, let me get this in the book. Let's stay in Corinthians while we in here. Let's go to chapter 11. All right, we're going to start at verse 1. It says, verse 1, "Be ye followers of me, even as I also am of Hamashiach. Now I praise you, brethren, that ye remember me in all things and keep the ordinances as I delivered them to you. But I would have you know that the head of every man is Hamashiach, and the head of the woman is the man, and the head of Hamashiach is Yahweh." All right, or God as it reads there. So there's an order to the way the family is structured. That order, the way it's set up, is letting us know who we have to answer to. All right. Us brothers, we have to answer to Hamashiach for the way that we treat our wives, for the way that we handle our wives, for the way that we rule and handle our households. It's important to understand that. All right. It's very important to understand that. So I want to deal with what Paul said. Let me go back to chapter 7 in verse 28. Paul said, if you get married, you're not sinning by doing that. But if you do, you're going to have trouble in the flesh. All right. So I want to deal with that flesh. What does he mean when he says trouble in the flesh? Let's go to Matthew chapter 19. Matthew chapter 19, and we're going to start at verse 4. It says, "And he answered and said unto them, Have you not read? That which made them at the beginning made them male and female, and said, For this cause shall a man leave father and mother, and shall cleave to his wife, and they twain shall be one flesh." All right. So when you get married as a man, you have to leave your parents, all right, and cleave to your wife. To cleave, let's go into that word. I like that word. Cleave. All right, Lord willing, y'all can see that. All right. Cleave. Let me see. Stick fast to. All right. So it's telling us that we got to stick together. You got to stick to that person. All right. You got to hold on to them. All right. So as men, as husbands, we got to cleave to our wives. It say, and they twain shall be one flesh. Right. Verse 6. It says, wherefore they are no more twain, or no more two different people, but one flesh. They've become one people. Once you, as a man, you lay down with that woman, y'all have just become one person. What for Yahweh have joined together, let no man put asunder. Whatever the Most High puts together, nobody or nothing should be able to come and divide that union. You understand? So let's go to Genesis. Let's go to where Yahweh Shai, who the world calls Jesus, got this script, where he got this from, right? Genesis chapter 2, and we're going to start at verse 7, right? And we're going to jump around a little bit. Genesis 2 and verse 7. If it's your first time on here, we reading out of the King James Bible, all right? You may, and we also use the Apocrypha as well, the books that were removed from the Bible. All right, so Genesis 2 and verse 7, it says, and the Lord God formed man of the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living soul. So he had Adam and gave him the breath of life, right? Let's jump down to verse 15. Let's see what happened next. It says, and the Lord God took the man and put him into the Garden of Eden to dress it and to keep it. All right, so he gave him a job. Verse 16, it says, and the Lord God commanded the man, saying, of every tree of the garden thou mayest freely eat, but of the tree of knowledge and good and evil thou shalt not eat of it. For in the day that thou eatest thereof, thou shalt surely die. All right, so he had Adam in flesh. Adam had flesh, meaning that he was capable of dying. He was capable of sin if he partook in the things that the Most High said don't partake in. All right, that's important. Let's jump down now to verse 21. All right, it says, and the Lord God caused a deep sleep to fall upon Adam, and he slept, and he took one of his ribs and closed up the flesh instead thereof. And the rib which the Lord God had taken from man made he a woman and brought her unto the man. And Adam said, this is now bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman, because she was taken out of man. So that's what woman means, from the man, all right, or ish, right? In the Hebrew, it says, therefore shall a man leave his father and his mother, and shall cleave unto his wife, and they shall be one flesh, not two, but the same. All right. So when you get a husband, sisters, brothers, when you get a wife, understand that that is the woman that was ordained for you to have. Even though y'all are going to have trouble in the flesh, y'all are going to go through things, ups and downs. The Most High purposed those spirits to be together before they came even into the flesh. All right, let me prove what I'm saying. Let's go to the book of Tobit. All right, if you don't have a physical Apocrypha, you can order you one off of Amazon. I think they still got them. They like $10. All right, or you can do what I'm doing right here. You can type in KJVA on your browser, and you can look at it on there, all right, for free. All right, so let's go to Tobit chapter 6, and I'm going to start at verse 17. All right, it says, and the devil shall smell it and flee away and never come again anymore. But when thou shalt come, let me blow this up. It says, and never come again anymore. But when thou shalt come to her, rise up both of you and pray to Yahweh, which is merciful, who will have pity on you and save you. Fear not, for she is appointed to you from the beginning, unto thee from the beginning. So to paint the picture of what has happened, some of y'all might have not have read the story of Tobit. Sarah, Tobit's wife, had 7 husbands up until she met Tobit, and all of them died. All right, they died in the marriage chamber. So Tobit was afraid he was going to be number 8. So this is why he's telling him, don't be afraid, right? He said, she is appointed unto thee from the beginning. and thou shalt preserve her, and she shall go with thee. So the angel Raphael is telling him this. Moreover, I suppose that she shall bear thee children. Now, when Tobias had heard these things, he loved her, and his heart was effectually joined to her. Effectually, meaning he wanted to be with her. He wanted to be married to this sister, right? So when two people get married, y'all have been put together, ordained to be together from the beginning of time. People don't meet in this truth. Let me get this precept. It just popped in my mind. It's not coincidence that you got the husband or wife that you got. All right. It's no coincidence. Let me get this precept. Just popped in my mind in the book of Sirach. I want to say it's in 40. Yep. Sirach chapter 40 and verse 23. Sirach 40 and verse 23. It says, a friend and companion never meet amiss, but above both is a wife with her husband. All right. So y'all are together for a reason. It's not coincidence that that's the person who the Most High has you with. All right. So that's important to understand. All right. So even though y'all have trouble in the flesh, understand that these things are to bring the better out of the both of y'all. All right. But as the husband, you have a weightier responsibility on you. You have to be mindful of how you handle the trouble in the flesh. All right. Be mindful of how you handle the trouble in the flesh, because you are going to be the example for her. All right. I'm going to say that again, brothers. We are going to be the example for our wives on how we deal with the trouble in the flesh. All right. So let's go to Matthew chapter 5. It's up to us brothers to understand and be spiritual and understand what's going on so that we can set the tone in the household for how things should be handled. All right. Matthew chapter 5 and verse 19. This is red letters, right? So this is the king talking. It says, I'm gonna blow it up. It say, whosoever therefore shall break one of these least commandments and shall teach men so. All right. Understand that. And shall teach men so. He shall be called least in the kingdom of heaven. But whosoever shall do and teach them, the same shall be called great in the kingdom of heaven. So you want to be careful what you teach your wife. You don't want to teach her an evil lesson against yourself. All right. You don't want to do that. You don't want to be a hypocrite, man. Right. Let's go to the book of Matthew, chapter 23. What did the king say about the Pharisees? Right. You don't want to be a Pharisee in your own household. Right. Matthew 23. I'm going to start at verse 2. It says, saying, I'm gonna start at 1, right? It says, then spake Yahushua to the multitude and to his disciples, saying, the scribes and Pharisees sit in Moses' seat. All therefore whatsoever they bid you, observe, that observe and do. But do not ye after their works, for they say and do not, right? You don't want to be this type of husband. You don't want to be the type of husband that flip through this fast and quick, but you know you yourself don't do it. Because why? Your wife is watching you. She's paying attention to whether you do what you say is supposed to be done, right? Verse 4 says, for they bind heavy burdens and grievous to be borne and lay them on men's shoulders, but they themselves will not move them with one of their fingers. So you don't want to be this type of brother that have such high standards for your rib, but you know you ain't living up to them standards, right? The Most High does not like this type of person, right? Verse 5, it say, but all their works they do to be seen of men, right? They make broad their phylacteries and enlarge the borders of their garments. They got these long fringes on, beautiful fringes. They look mighty in front of brothers, but at the house, they being a hypocrite. You don't want to be that type of brother, man. Right. So the most I say, if you teach an evil lesson, if you teach people to not keep the commandments, then you're gonna have to pay for that. All right. So let's keep going. Let's go to the book of Colossians. All right. It's important what you teach your wife because it'll backfire on you in your own household. Colossians chapter 3 and verse 19. What does that say? Husbands, love your wives and be not bitter against them. All right. So you don't want to be bitter against your wife, right? You got to learn to let stuff go, right? She may have done some things that are wrong, but guess what? You did some things that are wrong, right? The same way that you want forgiveness, the same way you want grace to overcome that sin that you still struggling with, you want to be sure to afford that same grace to your rib. All right. Let's go into the word bitter. I want to look this word up. All right. Bitter definition. So we're not talking about the first one dealing with smell or taste. So the second one, of people of their feelings or behavior, angry, hurt, or resentful because of one's bad experience or sense of unjust treatment. So, like I said, your rib, she may have done something to make you upset, right? But the same, you don't want to be resentful towards her, right? You don't want to be keep an angry spirit on you towards her. It's easy to let that happen. All right. And I speak from experience. It's easy to let that happen. And before you know it, you getting short with your rib. You're a little quicker to get aggravated with her. If it's like that, and if you examine yourself and you see that about yourself, then you got to understand that you actually are being bitter towards her. And you got to check that spirit, right? Why is it so important to check that spirit, right? Let's go to the book of Hebrews. You don't want to be bitter towards the real. This type of thing, brothers, it take some self-examination, man. It really does take being honest with yourself. Like I said, I speak from experience of having a bitter spirit. I fell into that spirit with my real, being bitter towards her because of I felt like she did something that was wrong, right? But what does the Bible say? Let's go to Hebrews 12 and verse 14. It says, follow peace with all men and holiness, without which no man shall see Lord. So it's got colons right here, right? It's finna further explain. Without following peace with all men and holiness, you won't see the Lord. And what's an example of what it just said? Verse 15, looking diligently, meaning examining yourself, lest any man fail of the grace of God, lest any root of bitterness springing up trouble you, and thereby many be defiled. So you don't want to be defiled with this bitterness. From this bitterness can result in you being in full-blown fruits of the flesh, right? And not the fruits of the spirit, right? You don't want to let that happen. You have to check that spirit by examining ourselves daily and how we treat our wives, right? So let's go to the book of James. Let's go to James chapter 1 and verse 1. James, a servant of Yahweh and of the Lord Yahweh Shah Hamashiach, to the 12 tribes which are scattered abroad. Greetings, my brethren. Count it all joy when you fall into diverse temptations. Now, some of them temptations going to come from your rib. Some of them temptations is going to come from your spouse, right? But you got to understand that that's exactly what it is. You're going to be put in some situations where she going to test your patience. She going to do it, right? Let's go. Verse 3, it say, knowing this, that the trying of your faith worketh patience. So how is your faith going to get tried with your spouse? By her doing something that you done told her over and over again that she shouldn't be doing, and she do it anyway, and the way that you react to it. In other words, when that trouble in the flesh come, how you deal with it, right? That's to work your patience and develop you and bring you to perfection. Verse 4 says that. It says, but let patience have her perfect work. A lot of times as men, we'll be praying and you might be asking the Most High to give you more patience. Well, guess what he gonna do? Put you in situations where your patience is tried, right? You got to be careful what you ask for. But at the same time, those are the situations that are gonna make you perfect. They're gonna bring you to maturity, to completion as a servant of the Lord. It says that you may be perfect and entire, meaning complete, wanting or lacking nothing. You understand? So understand you're gonna be that trouble in the flesh for us men and for the sisters. It's designed to bring the better out of you. All right. The Most High put you with the person that you needed to be with to get the result that he looking for from us. Right. So let's go to the book of Sirach. Sirach chapter 2 and verse number 5. It says, for gold is tried in the fire, and acceptable men in the furnace of adversity. All right. So you may be in your household and your wife gets spirits on her. How you handle that could be the fire that the Lord has you in. That your spouse, for brothers and sisters, but I'm dealing with the brothers primarily. The way she reacts, the way you react to her being out of order, being out the spirit, that trouble in the flesh could be, and more than likely is part of the fire that the Lord has you in, has the acceptable men in, that adversity, the times when it's hard. You understand? You want to be careful how you react in those situations, because however you react, she's paying attention. She's taking note, mental notes. Salakia, she's watching you and she's taking notes, right? Let's go to the book of Sirach. Let's stand Sirach and let's go to chapter 18 and verse number 20. All right, it says, before judgment, examine thyself, and in the day of visitation, thou shalt find mercy. So before you be so quick to say, you talk about your rib and you say, you this, you that, I ain't dealing with this no more, or whatever the case may be, you want to be careful, because you yourself have done things to where if the Most High said he not dealing with you no more, he wouldn't be wrong, right? The same way that you want mercy, you got to extend that mercy to your rib. You understand? The same way that you want mercy, you got to extend that mercy to your rib before judgment, before you just be so quick to say she ain't going to get the kingdom because she this or she that. What it say? Examine thyself. You want to look at yourself. You understand? Pay attention to yourself. Let's go to the book of Ephesians real quick. Ephesians chapter 5. Ephesians 5 and verse 25. What does it say? Husbands, love your wives. It said that in Colossians. Husbands, love your wives, even as Hamashiach also loved the church and gave himself for it. What that mean? He put himself on the back burner, right? He put them first. You understand? It says that he might sanctify and cleanse it with the washing of the water by the word. It's our job as husbands to clean our, she might be out of order. She might not have it all together, but guess what your job is as a husband? Guess what my job is? To clean her up with this word. And that's a process. Do any of you, I know how I get in the shower and I wash. I don't just jump in the shower and jump right back out and think I'm clean. Nah, man, that's a process. That's some scrubbing. And I'm in there for a little minute. You feel me? I'm in there for a little minute before I can get out of there and feel like I'm clean, right? So it's not gonna be like that with your rib either. You ain't gonna just throw this water on her, the word. You're not gonna just throw this water on her and think she just gonna be clean instantly. It's gonna be a process. It's gonna be some scrubbing involved, right? It's gonna be some work that's gotta get done, right? So it say the same way, it said the same way Hamashiach cleaned the church with the word, that's how you got to do with your rib. It say that he might sanctify it, meaning set it apart and cleanse it with the washing of the water by the word. Because guess what? Your words don't mean nothing. As a husband, you can get her to do more with less of your words. We're going to come back to that, right? You can get your wife to do more with less of your words, right? It says that he might present it to himself a glorious church. So we got to present our wives. It's our job to present. You got to do all now, right now, we got to be working and cleaning our wives up with this word so that we can do what? Present her to the Lord. So we can say, here, look at this work that I did on your daughter. Because the Most High love his daughters. He love his sons too, but he love his daughters, right? It says that he might present it to himself a glorious church, not having spot or wrinkle or any such thing, but that it should be holy and without blemish. Verse 28, so ought men to love their wives as their own bodies. You got to treat her how you would that when you was coming in the truth and you wanted to stop smoking weed, how many chances you gave yourself, brothers? How many opportunities did you give yourself to get it right? I'm sure as many times as you thought it took. I know for me, I'll speak for myself. I didn't stop smoking weed right away. I gave myself weeks, I think a few months, as much time as I felt like I needed, right? I didn't expect me to stop doing it right away. Not saying that I shouldn't have, but the point is the way that you give yourself grace, you got to give that same grace to your rib, right? He that loveth his wife loveth himself. Why? Because she's a part of you. She literally came from you, right? Those who you will understand. If it go over your head, then that's all right. But just same way that the Lord took Eve from Adam is the same way that your rib came from you. Y'all were ordained to be together. She is literally a part of you. You understand? It says, so if you don't love yourself, if you don't love your wife, you don't love yourself. For no man ever yet hated his own flesh, but nourisheth and cherisheth it, even as the Lord the church. Like you put lotion on yourself, you buy yourself cologne, you smell good, you get your hair cut, right? You're not gonna beat yourself up. So you're not gonna put hands on yourself. You can't put hands on your rib. You patient with yourself. You got to be patient with her. Why? For we are members of his body, of his flesh, of his bones. That's important, right? That's some deep stuff right there. For this cause shall a man leave his father and mother, and shall be joined unto his wife, and they two shall be one flesh. 32, Paul say, this is a great mystery. I'm telling y'all some deep stuff. You might get it, you might not, but I speak concerning Hamashiach and the church. All right. Nevertheless, let every one of you in particular so love his wife, even as himself, and the wife see that she reverence her husband, right? So wives have to reverence their husbands. All right. So from there, let's go to the book. Let's go back to James. Let's go back to James. James chapter 3. And we're going to read verse 3. All right, it says, behold, we put bits in the horses' mouths, that they may obey us, and we turn about their whole body. So remember what I said, you can get more out of your wife with less of your words, right? Our words matter. The things that we say matter. The tongue is a little member, but it can cause great consequences and great things to result from what we say. So James is painting a picture. He said, look, a horse is a huge animal, but with a bit a little bit. Let me show y'all an image of a bit so I can see what he's talking about. Right? So that thing right there, let me blow it up. That still ain't big. Hold on. All right. So that thing right there, that gold thing is a bit. Now this horse is huge. All right. I don't know if any of you ever been around a live real horse, but horses are big animals. But that little bitty thing right there, blow it up again, controls that large animal. All right. It changes the direction in which he goes. All right. So you got to understand that little things can have great effects. So you want to be careful what you say. All right. So, in the sense of a husband and a wife, husbands, you want to be careful what you say. You don't want to call your wife names, be demeaning to her. You don't want to do those things because it can have a great effect on her and the relationship that you have with her in the future, down the road, right? Words stick. You know what I'm saying? So let me get this in the book of Job. Words stick. People don't really forget things that are said to them. All right. Job 6 and verse number 25. So the Bible says, how forcible are right words, but what doth your arguing reprove? So it's not even beneficial to you as a man to be sitting here in an argument with your wife. It's not even going to do anything at the end of the day. Y'all are just expounding precious energy, right? Precious energy that could be used for something positive. Right? Y'all could go out and work out with that energy, exercise, take care of your bodies with that energy, right? Salaki. So you want to use less of your words and use more of the right words. What are the right words? The words in the Bible. If she's out of order, if y'all having some trouble in the flesh, the best thing you can do is know this. This is your best friend. All right. The Lord said that this casts down imaginations and pull down strongholds. You don't think it can get a woman in order? Right? What did he tell Jeremiah? Let's go to the book of Jeremiah. It just popped in my head. Jeremiah chapter 1. What did he tell Jeremiah? Jeremiah 1, we're going to start at verse verse 9, right? It says, then the Lord put forth his hand and he touched my mouth. And the Lord said unto me, behold, I have put my words in thy mouth. All right. And what is he going to do with those words? What is he going to be able to accomplish with those words? It says, see, I have this day set thee over nations, over kingdoms, to root out and to pull down and to destroy and to throw down. You can do all that with the word of the Most High. And what else? To build and to plant, right? You can also make things grow with the word of the Lord. So how much more our wives? Instead of using our carnal words, how about we use the spiritual words? Because the word is spirit, right? The king said that. Let's get that in the book of John. The king said that the words that he speak are spirit. John 6 in the verse 63. Right? It says, it is the spirit that quickeneth mean to make alive. It say what? The flesh profiteth nothing. Your carnal words, bro, ain't gonna profit nothing. That going back and forth, you sorry son of a, that ain't gonna profit nothing. Right? What he say? The words that I speak unto you, they are spirit and they are life. So this is spirit. This book is spiritual. It's life. So that's why it's able to pull down kingdoms and destroy strongholds and cast down imaginations. You don't think it can get her in order? it can get her in order too. Trust me, right? So you want to speak the words of the Lord. You want to speak life into your rib, right? You don't want to teach her an evil lesson, right? Let's go to the book of Proverbs. Get some more on the words that we speak. All right, Proverbs chapter 25 and verse number 15. It says, by long forbearing, we blow it up. By long forbearing, what's that? Patience is a prince persuaded. Patience can persuade somebody with a lot of power, is what he's telling us. What else? And a soft tongue breaketh the bone. You don't got to use this to break the bones. Just saying, you ain't got to say it loud. Sometimes you ain't got to say nothing. You can just give that look and she'll get right. But if you gonna say something, use this, right? Don't use your words. Your words don't mean anything, right? So that's what James was talking about when he was talking about the bit. Let's go back to James 3:3. That's what James was trying to get us to understand when he was talking about the tongue. It says, behold, we put bits in the horses' mouths that they may obey us, and we turn about their whole body. You can control a whole horse with that little bit. Behold, also the ships, which though they be so great, are driven of fierce winds, yet they are turned about with a very small helm, whithersoever the governor listeth. Even so, the tongue is a little member and boasteth great things. Behold, how great a matter a little fire kindleth. So with your tongue, you can cause a whole situation, right? Just by what you say. Verse 6, and the tongue is a fire, a world of iniquity. So is the tongue among our members, that it defileth the whole body. What you say can defile your whole body, and setteth on fire the course of nature, and it is set on fire of hell, right? For every kind of beast and of birds and of serpents and of things in the sea is tamed and have been tamed of mankind. So what is he saying? People get lions, tigers, fierce animals, and they can tame them. They can domesticate them, right? You can go to the zoo and you can see these animals. They got petting zoos, right? He said we can domesticate fierce animals, right? But what? Verse 8, but the tongue can no man tame. It is an unruly evil full of deadly poison. So you got it mistaken if you thinking you can do what? Lean on your understanding and come up with the right words to say. You cannot, right? That's why the Most High gave us men this, so we can rule over our homes with this, not with this and this. That's not what you should be doing, right? Verse 9, therewith bless we Yahweh, even the Father, meaning with the same mouth you praise God with the same mouth you go out the camp with, the same mouth you use to do these classes with, and therewith curse we men. You come home and you cuss your wife out with the same mouth, right? Which are made after the similitude of Yahweh. She made after you. She literally is from you, and you are made in the image of the Most High, right? So you literally, that's why Paul said, when you hate your wife, you hate yourself, right? Verse 10, out of the same mouth proceedeth blessing and cursing. My brethren, these things ought not to be so, right? So we men of the Lord, we ought not to be found doing these things. Like I said, I'm guilty of that. I'm very guilty. When I put this class together, I cut myself to pieces. 2 pieces on the floor, slang, cut. Yeah, but the point is that we get better. You understand? The point is that we examine ourselves and we get better, right? That we get better. Let's go to the book. Let's go to the book of matter of fact, let's keep going. Verse 11. It says, doth a fountain send forth at the same place sweet water and bitter? Right? You can't get sweet water and salt water from the same river, right? Can a fig tree, my brethren, bear olives, berries, either a vine, figs, So can an old fountain both yield salt water and fresh? Meaning what? You're gonna become one or the other, right? You can't go out in the streets and teach the Bible and be so patient with people that you just met, but then have so short of patience with the one at the home in your household with you. Can't do that. You're gonna become one or the other. Verse 13, who is a wise man endowed with knowledge among you? Let him show out of a good conversation his works with meekness of wisdom. So you're wise when your conversation is with words of wisdom, right? Meekness, understanding that you need patience. You need to be people to be patient with you as well. Verse 14, but if ye have bitter envying and strife in your hearts, glory not and lie not against the truth. You can't say you fully in this truth if you still being bitter with people, especially with your rib, right? You cannot do that because guess what? Like I said, she paying attention to everything you say. She gonna bring up, I remember you telling me to do this, but you didn't do that. You ain't do, I remember when you said that. She gonna remember it, right? It's a verse 15, this wisdom descendeth not from above, but is earthly, sensual. Sensual mean what? Emotional, right? Brothers, we cannot be emotional. We have to we have to be spiritual and use this book, right? It say it's devilish. So you don't want to let your emotions get the best of you as a man. You got to have control over your emotions, right? Verse 16, for where envying and strife is, fighting all the time, arguing all the time, there is confusion and every evil work. Nothing but wickedness is going to come from that, right? Y'all going to both be out of the spirit. You teaching her that when that trouble in the flesh come, that it's okay to just get out the spirit. Or you can teach her that when the trouble in the flesh come, to get in the spirit, right? Open this book up. Dang, when we was arguing, when I was upset, he always pulled this out and he reasoned with me with this. Let me handle my issues like that versus being emotional. You can't out emotional your wife, bro. You can't out emotional her. You can't out emotion her. She's made to operate off of emotion. So who you think gonna win that battle? None of y'all, really, neither one of y'all. Verse 16 again, it says, for where envying and strife is, there is confusion in every evil work. But the wisdom that is from above is first pure, then peaceable, gentle. Brother, it's all right to be gentle with your rib. It's all right. It don't make you less of a man if you gentle with her. You can check your wife in a gentle way. It's a way, and get what? She'll respect that even more. She'll respect that even more. Just check me and he ain't even yell at me. Telling you, man, she'll like it. I guarantee, man, let me show y'all something real quick. Let me show y'all something. I can't remember the brother name from let me see if I can find it. I forget their names. Yeah, let's watch this. Let's watch this. I don't own this. Fair use. I don't own this. I don't own this.
What makes Zaxby's giant chicken
Purposes
finger
only. I don't own the rights to this. All right, I gotta say that.
quesadilla so giant? Crispy fingers, sauce, and milk.
Me and Megan are going out to get my birthday present. You can bet it won't be no funky pajamas, because I don't wear them, baby.
You're doing it wrong.
But I'm doing it. Whitley, This is between Ron and his daddy.
Are you saying this is none of my business?
There you go.
Please stop calling here.
Hold on.
Tell Julian I said hello, okay?
Hold on, let me show y'all this. So that's like a compilation of him checking her, right? So this one's short. I don't want to get flagged. Let me watch this.
Your friend. I shouldn't have to blackmail you to help him.
You don't listen. You are my woman, and I love you. But if you ever tell me that you are not speaking to me for a week again, I will drop you like a bad habit.
See how he did that? He didn't put his hands on her. He didn't yell at her. He just told her, look, this is what it's going to be, and it's going to be this way. Then he went back to doing what he was doing. Now watch how she act.
Oh, and you know something? I'm not through. Serious sports fan before I met you. You knew that then, and you know it now, so please spare me those little 10-minute drive for him every time I want to go to a game, okay?
So that wasn't rough. That was pretty gentle. Now watch this.
I love it when you take charge, Daddy. I am lucky to have you.
You
Yes,
see that?
you are.
You can
And don't
actually get the results you want without yelling and doing all these things, man. You don't have to do all that. You can check your woman in a gentle way. Right now, that was a worldly example, but we as brothers, we can use the Bible, right? That's the advantage that we got than brothers in the world got, right? So from there, let's go to Proverbs. So you don't want to let bitterness and be praising the Most High come out of the same mouth. One will start to overtake the other one, right? Proverbs 10 and verse 10. It says, he that winketh with his eye causes sorrow, but a prating fool shall fall, right? The mouth of a righteous man is a well of life, but violence covereth the mouth of the wicked. All right. So the mouth of a righteous man is a well of life. You don't want to be found. Let's keep reading. It says, verse 12, hatred stirreth up strife, but love covereth all sins. Brothers, we need our sins. I don't know about y'all, but I need my sins covered. I don't need the Most High holding everything against me, right? I need some forgiveness. So the same way I need that forgiveness, the same way we need forgiveness, brothers, we got to have that same spirit with our ribs, right? Because it's going to cover your sins, right? So you got to give your ribs some grace, right? I wrote down, sometime our spouse has spirits on them and we have to discern that, right? So a lot of times you got to realize, like, it's not her. It's the spirits that's on her, right? She may have spirits on her. She might have watched something, listened to something, right? And you got to understand she out the spirit, but it's not her that's doing that. So don't direct that anger and animosity towards her. Rather understand it's the spirits that's on her. You got to be able to discern these things as a man. Why? Because you are the stronger vessel. You got to have discernment, right? Let me show you why I say that. Let's go to Revelation chapter 2 and verse 24, right? Revelation. I went to Proverbs, Salaki, y'all. Revelation chapter 2 and verse 24. It says, but I say unto you and unto the rest in Thyatira, as many have not this doctrine, as which have not known the depths of Satan, as they speak, I will put upon you none other burden. So why I went here is to understand it's levels to Satan. You got to be able to discern the depths that Satan will go. You got to know the tricks that he used, man. And chiefly, frankly, he been using the same tricks from the beginning of time. He used the woman to bring down the man. So he want to get your woman out the spirit so that she can do you like this, and poke at you all day, and then what? You get out the spirit, and now you teaching her an evil lesson because when that trouble in the flesh came, you didn't handle it the right way, right? So you got to discern the depths of Satan, man, right? Let's go to Second Corinthians. Second Corinthians chapter 2 and verse 11. Satan got depths to the way that he work and operate, right? Second Corinthians 2 and 11, lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. We know how he works. So when your next time your rib out the spirit, she out of order, she yelling at you, she might be cussing at you, understand that you don't fight that fire with carnal fire. No, you fight it with this fire, right? The most I say, are not my words like fire, right? So she trying to fight you with carnal fire. You got to use the word to fight that fire, right? Use the water of the word to quench that fire, right? You understand? So don't let Satan get an advantage of you, and then he got your rib out the spirit, and then you show her you just gonna get right back carnal with her. Nah, don't do that, right? Sometimes it's not them, it's the spirit that's on them, right? Let's go to Job. Let's get an example of that, right? Job 2 and verse number 1. Right, I'm gonna start there. It says, again, there was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan came also among them to present himself before the Lord. Why? Because Satan is an angel. He's just an angel on the left-hand side, that he's the chief demon, right? He was created to cause confusion, to test the hearts of men, right? So he just does his job. What does it say? Verse 2, and the Lord said unto Satan, from whence comest thou? Where you coming from, Satan? Right? And Satan answered the Lord and said, he knows everything, right? He not asking him this because he really don't know where Satan been. He know where Satan been. He doing what he created him to do. It says, from whence comest thou? And Satan answered the Lord and said, from going to and fro in the earth, and from walking up and down in it. Ain't that what Peter said? Right? Hold that real quick. Let me go to 1 Peter 3 and verse 7. Peter said the same thing. Satan walks around up and down like a roaring lion, seeking to whom he may devour. 1 Peter 3 and verse number 7. Let me oh no, that ain't what I'm looking for. Let me look for the one where it say seeking whom. I think that's James. First Peter 5 and 8. Salaki. Right? It says, be sober, be vigilant, pay attention, because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about seeking whom he may devour. So that's where that's where Peter gets that from. In the book of Job, he told you what the devil does. He go up and down the earth looking to see who he can devour. And he devours you with yourself by getting you out the spirit, by enticing you with your covetousness, right? Like it say in the book of James. So in Job, let's go back to Job, verse 2. It says, and the Lord said unto Satan, from whence comest thou? And Satan answered the Lord and said, from going to and fro in the earth, and from walking up and down in it. And the Lord said unto Satan, hast thou considered my servant Job? He said, what you think about Job? Right? Because in chapter 1, he said what? Job was perfect and upright. He said, Satan, I want you to test Job, right? That there is none like him in the earth. Ain't nobody like Job, a perfect and upright man, one that fears God and escheweth evil, and still holdeth fast his integrity, although thou movest me against him to destroy him without cause. So that's what Satan's job is. He's the accuser of our brethren, right? So his job, brothers, is to accuse you of not being who you be out on them streets saying you is, who you be on these videos saying you is. And how is he going to do that? Verse 4, and Satan answered the Lord and said, skin for skin, yea, all that a man have, he will give for his life. But put forth thine hand now and touch his, let me blow it up, and touch his bone and his flesh. Remember we read that in Genesis? Flesh of my flesh, bone of my bone. Who you think Satan saying he can get the Job through? His rib, his wife. I can get Job out the spirit if you let me get to his wife. Watch it. He say, and he will curse thee to thy face. Right? Let's keep going. It says, and the Lord said unto Satan, behold, he is in thine hand, but save his life. Do what you want, Satan, but don't kill him. Verse 7. So Satan went forth from the presence of the Lord and smote Job with sore boils from the sole of his foot unto his crown. So Job was sick. Verse 8. And he took him a potsherd and scraped himself withal. He took a piece of a broken pot and scraped himself, right? Like he probably was itching. And he sat down among the ashes. Then said his wife unto him, dost thou still retain thine integrity? Curse God and die. Didn't she say the same thing that Satan said? But that wasn't her. That was the spirit that was on her. You understand? She said, curse God and die. You got us catching hell right now. Right? What did Job say? Verse 10. But he said unto her, thou speakest as one of the foolish women speaketh. He said, woman, you talking like a foolish woman right now. What? Shall we receive good at the hand of Yahweh? And shall not we receive evil? In all this did not Job sin with his lips. So yeah, he called his woman. He said, look, you acting foolish right now. But he didn't sin with his lips, though. You understand? He didn't do anything that was against the scriptures. He corrected her, right? So we got to understand the balance and the nuances of being a husband. It's not just getting carnal and over talking her, right? Let's go to First Peter now and 3 and verse 7. Right? It says, likewise, ye husbands, dwell with them according to knowledge, giving honor unto the wife as the weaker vessel. So she's a weaker vessel than you are. What does that mean? She's more susceptible to spirits on getting on her than you are. Why? Because she's emotional. Her default mindset, all of our default mindset. Let me get that in Romans. Let me pick this apart slowly real quick, right? Let's go to Romans 8 and verse 7, right? This is talking about everybody. Verse 7, it says, because the carnal mind, your natural thing that your mind wants to do is enmity against Yahweh. That's men and women. What does that mean? For it is not subject to the law of Yahweh, neither can it be. So you cannot be carnal. You can't go with and operate off of what your default is. The woman's default is to be emotional. You understand? Her default is to just go off of her feelings, right? So let's go back. Let's go back. It says, because let me go back to First Peter 3 and verse 7. So it says, likewise, ye husbands, dwell with them according to knowledge, giving honor to the wife as the weaker vessel. You got to understand that she's more susceptible to spirits than you are, right? And as being heirs together. But it's your job to clean her up with this word. And when you do that, y'all, Lord willing, you get the kingdom. You and her, y'all are going to be heirs together of the grace of life. And you have to do that, brothers, that your prayers be not hindered. The Lord will stop listening to your prayers. If you're not dwelling with them according to knowledge, if you're not using this instead of your words, your prayers are going to start to be hindered. The Most High stop dealing with you, right? Verse 8, finally, be ye all of one mind, having compassion one of another, love as brethren, be pitiful, be courteous, not rendering evil for evil or railing for railing. Because if you do that, you teaching her that, right? But contrary-wise, blessing, knowing that ye are to call that you should inherit blessing. So not dwelling with them according to knowledge will literally block your blessings. You will stop getting blessed by doing that, right? Verse 10, for he that will love life and see good days, let him refrain his tongue from evil, and his lips that they speak no guile. Verse 11, let him eschew evil and do good. Let him seek peace. Seek peace, meaning go after it and ensue it. You got to do everything to promote peace in your home. That might mean walking away. Before you do this and put your hands on her, right? Or just go back and forth with her, just walk away. If you can't find, if you so hot in your anger, the way you can't flip through this book and get no scriptures, the reason, take a walk. Right? Verse 12, it says, for the eyes of the Lord are over the righteous. He's not going to let you mistreat his daughters. Right? And his ears are open unto their prayers, but the face of the Lord is against them that do evil. Who is he that will harm you if you be followers of that which is good? Right? So it says, but and if you suffer for righteousness' sake, sometimes that trouble in the flesh gonna feel like you suffering. That restraint that you giving yourself and making yourself do might feel like you suffering, right? You so mad you just want to. It's almost like suffering, right? Where they say, happy are ye, and be not afraid of their terror, neither be troubled. But sanctify the Lord God in your hearts, and be always ready to give an answer to every man that asketh you a reason of the hope that is in you with meekness and fear. That goes the same way with your spouse. If she want to yell and scream, you brothers, this gonna be your best friend, this Bible. You got to be able to use that as a tool for making peace. You got to know where to go, to the scriptures to pull, to get your house in order and back in a peaceful manner, right? So from there, let's go to Proverbs. You don't want to let the emotions, you don't want to get carnal, brothers, and start, because that is going to put you in a situation where you do something that you might regret, right? Let's go from there. Let's go to Proverbs 6 and verse 12, right? It says, a naughty person, a wicked man, walketh with a forward mouth. So it start with this mouth, right? He winketh with his eyes. He's deceitful. He speaketh with his feet. He teacheth with his fingers. What does that mean? He speaketh with his feet. He teaches with his fingers, meaning he like to get abusive. He like to fight, right? Brothers, we cannot put our hands on our wives. You cannot do that. How I know teaches with his fingers mean he fighting, right? Let's go to Psalms. Psalms 144. Why am I saying he teaches with his fingers mean he like to hit and fight people? All right, Psalms 144 and verse number 1. It says, blessed be the Lord, my strength, right? Which teacheth my hands to war and my fingers to fight. So when it say he teaches with his fingers, he make you do what he wants you to do by hitting you, right? Because and all praise to the Most High. I pray that I never get in a situation like that. I never have, but I can understand and sympathize with brothers who have failed in that area where they have gotten violent with their spouse. Because as a man, men talk to each other a certain type of way. You understand? We understand that two men talking to each other, we understand that there has to be a certain level of respect. And I'm speaking as a man right now. We understand that there has to be a certain level of respect between two men, because otherwise it can get physical and it can get, somebody can get hurt. You understand? I'm not going, or most men aren't going to engage in an argument with other men unless they understand the potential risk for violence. For some reason, women in America, not all women, but a lot of women in America don't understand that, right? And I'm not excusing domestic violence. Please don't twist my words or misunderstand me. All right, I'm not excusing that. But as a man, some men they try to force women to do what they want with their words. And if they can't force them to do what they want with their words, they try to force them with this, right? They try to force them by putting their hands on them. And that's unacceptable, right? I'm gonna show y'all something real quick. Show y'all this video. Right? This is what we don't want. Fair use. I don't own the rights to this.
Said that.
Fair use, I
never
don't
even
own the rights to this. This is for educational purposes only. All right, let me blow it up.
said that. You're full of
So you see
shit.
the woman,
Tanya.
right? She out of order. She yelling and screaming at the dude. Now watch this.
Tanya.
Oh,
Get
he's
in the
trying to be
house.
patient. You can tell she probably been talking smack the whole way home. Tanya, get in the house, right?
Going inside with you. Why would I
He
go
lost
inside?
it right
Ow!
there. Right there, he just lost it. He just lost it, brothers. You can't lose it. He just lost it and slammed her hand in the door, right? His patience wore thin.
Hey! Ow! I'm not going inside with you. Why would I go inside? Ow! Hey! Touch me! I swear to God!
Was early morning yesterday. Damn it! I was up.
Things got out of hand. I mean, we couldn't be in the same house together. I called the authorities on him the whole summer. I mean, I was filing restraining orders, you name it.
Right, so that's what we don't want, man. You see they in there fighting like cats and dogs. We don't want that, right? You still ain't gonna make her do what you want her to do. You may do it for a moment, but it's not gonna end well. You see the police out there, and brothers, you will go to jail if you do that. All right, you will go to jail. She might not call the police on you right away, but eventually, if you keep doing it, you know she gonna call the police on you. Right? So let's watch this one. This is from the show Greenleaf. On the rights.
Imagine being able to
for educational purposes only, fair use.
build an app with your name on it just by thinking about it. Meet Base 44, a complete AI.
Fast forward to
Why do you look like that?
142, right? Oh nah, 115. So this is a younger couple.
Why are you mad at me? You could have had the condoms at your house, but you didn't. I'm in trouble.
You blaming me?
Isaiah, come on.
You really blaming me?
Get you off of me, Isaiah.
Baby,
That's
I'm
how it
sorry.
happen a lot of times. You put your hand, you go ahead and exert that first frustration, and then after that, you gonna know what you did wasn't right. You gonna feel bad, but you ruining the relationship at that point, right? Let's keep going.
Please
Baby, I'm
stop.
sorry. I'm
Please,
sorry.
Isaiah.
I won't do it again. I promise you. I won't do it again, babe. Babe, I'm sorry. We'll go back inside. Babe, I'm sorry. Babe. Sophia, what's the matter?
Uncle Jacob,
Yeah, sweetie, what's up?
I just saw Isaiah hit Sora.
He did what? Isaiah hit Zora?
Oh my word.
Where is she? Where are they?
Right there, right there.
Zora,
Yes,
baby,
yes.
you okay?
What are you talking about?
Did Isaiah hit you?
Wait, what? Are these No, I got hit by a door. I got hit by a door.
Sophia just told us Isaiah hit you.
You what? Sora, please.
Hey, answer me.
He did not hit me.
Answer.
Please, what are
Hey,
these bruises?
little boy, did you put your hands on my daughter?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Please,
What
stop.
you talking
Listen to
about,
me. I mean, he did not
Did
touch me.
he
did
hit
not
you?
touch me. No.
Did he hit you?
No. Isaiah.
Yo, I didn't do nothing, bruh.
As he should have. Her daddy came and knock 5 out his ass, right? So you don't want that, man. That's somebody's daughter, that's somebody's sister. You know what I'm saying? You don't, it's never good, man. A lot of people have lost their lives, went to prison over domestic violence, man. So you as a man, you want to control your emotions, man, right? It's a couple things that can result from you putting your hands on your rib and it getting physical, right? Let's go to the book of Proverbs. So you don't want to teach with your hands and with your feet, but you don't want to teach her that way, right? Let's go to Proverbs 11. Right? Proverbs 11 and verse 29. Right? It says, he that troubleth his own house shall inherit the wind, and a fool shall be the servant of the wise of heart. Right? So you don't want to inherit the wind. You putting your hands on your woman, next thing you know, she kicking you out the house. You go to jail and she done moved and you ain't got no place to stay now. Right? You inherit the wind. You don't want to do that. You troubling your own house, right? So when you putting your hands on your woman, what's the woman supposed to be? Your wife? She's supposed to be your what? Pillar of rest. A pillar is something that supports a building, a structure. Well, as a husband, it's the house of Nahshon. It's the house of whatever your name is. Her job is to be a pillar of that house. If you beating on her, putting your hands on her, you hurting your own house. You gonna tear down your own house, right? So that's never okay, right? That's one result of one consequence of you putting your hands on your woman, right? Let's go to chapter 25 and verse 24, right? This is the other thing that could result from you doing that. It says, it is better to dwell in the corner of the housetop than with a brawling woman in a wide house. So say she don't call the police on you. Y'all gonna always be arguing. Y'all gonna always be into it because she gonna be threatening that she'll call the police on you and tell them that you put your hand. It's gonna always, she never gonna trust you again. She never gonna feel safe around you after that, right? So Solomon said, look, it's better to be in the corner of the roof in a small space with no comfort than to be in a big home where y'all fighting and fussing all the time, right? So as a man, you got to understand that there's consequences for your actions. It's going to be consequences for whatever you choose to teach your wife, right? Let's go to verse 28 real quick while we in this chapter. Verse 28, Proverbs 25 and 28. It says, he that have no rule over his own spirit is like a city that is broken down and without walls. So brothers, you got to rule your spirit. You can't let the words that she's saying make you lose patience and you get out of character and you do something that you're going to regret, right? You have to rule your spirit, right? Rule over your emotions, right? Let's go to Proverbs 16 in verse 32. It says, he that is slow to anger is better than the mighty, and he that ruleth his spirit than he that taketh the city. So you want to be able to, once again, rule over your spirit. If you see yourself, rule over your spirit mean understand your spirit, manage your spirit. You understand? Understand when something is, discern when something is getting you out of the spirit and it's about to piss you off, right? I'll just say it. It's about to piss you off and you getting out the spirit. That's when you got to know, okay, I need to go for a run. I need to get in the word. She in the house and she's still talking. I need to get out the house and go somewhere and read. Or I need to go sit in the truck. Whatever, I need to call one of the brothers. Whatever you need to do, you got to do what you got to do to rule over your spirit, right? That's a strong brother. That is a strong brother, right? That can rule his spirit, right? Let's go to the book of Galatians. Galatians chapter 5. Right? Did not the Lord talk about the fruits of the spirit? Galatians 5, and we're going to start at verse 17. It says, for the flesh lusteth against the spirit, right? It's a battle all day long, right? Let me read 16. It says, this I say then, walk in the spirit, and ye shall not fulfill the lust of the flesh. It didn't say you might still be in the flesh. You either gonna be in one or the other. You either gonna be in the spirit or in the flesh, right? If you do that, it says, for the flesh lusteth against the spirit. They're fighting against each other. Your spirit and your flesh is all day warring against each other. The spirit and the spirit against the flesh. And these are contrary the one to the other, so that ye cannot do the things that ye would. That's what keep you from doing right. When you do wrong, it's because that flesh, remember we read, y'all are one flesh. So y'all are both gonna have moments where you get out of character, right? So somebody gotta be the bigger person, and it's the stronger vessel. It's us, brothers. We always gonna have to be the bigger person. It's always supposed to be us, because they're the weaker vessel, right? It said, but if you be led of the spirit, ye are not under the law. Meaning, if you in the spirit, you're not under the law of death. You don't have to be, you can still partake in the spirit of grace that Hamashiach gave to us, right? But if you in the flesh, you can't, right? Verse 19, now the works of the flesh are manifest. You can see them, which are these: adultery, fornication, uncleanness, lasciviousness, which is inordinate sexual affections, desires, idolatry, witchcraft, hatred, variance, right? Arguing, emulations, competing with one another, wrath, strife, seditions, heresies, envyings, murder is what come from all this. And that's a horrible result of domestic violence a lot of times. What? Drunkenness, revelings, and such like, of the which I tell you before, as I have also told you in time past, that they which do such things shall not inherit the kingdom of God. You can't get the kingdom of that way. Like Hebrews 12 said, the grace of Hamashiach is going to bypass you for that bitterness, right? But rather than the fruits of the flesh, we want to have the fruits of the spirit, right? Which it talks about in 22 on down, right? So let's go from here. Let's go to the book of Titus. Titus real quick. Titus chapter 1 and verse 7. Right? So now these are the qualifications of a bishop, right? So it says, for a bishop must be blameless. A bishop is nothing more than an overseer, right? So as men in the Lord, we first, whether you have the title of a bishop over a congregation or not, you're first an overseer or ruler of your household, right? So every man has to be an overseer of his house. It says, so you can replace bishop with overseer. And if you're a husband, you are an overseer, right? So it says you have to be blameless, a steward of Yahweh, not self-willed, not going off of your feelings and emotions, not soon angry, not given to wine. You can't be drinking all the time, not giving the filthy lucre, dirty money, but a lover of hospitality, a lover of good men, sober, just, holy, temperate, meaning having self-control. You know how to rule your emotions and your spirit, right? Holding fast and faithful words as he have been taught, that he may be able by sound doctrine both to exhort and to convince the gainsayers. You got to know the Bible, right? You got to know the Bible. You can't be a husband and you don't know how to get in the word, man. You got to know how to sit your wife down and get her to listen to the Bible, right? Let's go to 1 Timothy. It said a lot of the same things here as far as the qualifications of a bishop or an overseer, right? So it says a bishop must be blameless, the husband of one wife, vigilant, sober, a good behavior, given to hospitality, apt to teach. You have to know how to teach the Bible, right? You got to know how to teach the Bible. Not given to wine, no striker, not greedy of filthy lucre, but patient, not a brawler. You can't be out here fighting people, right? Not covetous, one that ruleth well his own house, having his children in subjection with all gravity. right? So you got to know how to rule your house with this, not with this, not with these, with the Bible. You feel me? It say verse 5, for if a man know not how to rule his own house, how shall he take care of the church of God? Right? So you got to know how to rule your home, rule your wife with the Bible, not with your fist, right? Not with yelling and screaming, right? Let's go to the book of Second Ezra. Second Ezra, chapter 14 and verse number 14. It says, let go from thee mortal thoughts, cast away the burdens of man, put off now the weak nature. So put off that weak nature. It's weak for you to be, you can't get her to listen to you by just but by putting your hands on her, but by yelling and screaming at her. That's weak nature, right? That's carnal nature, right? But verse 15, set aside the thoughts that are most heavy unto thee, and haste thee to flee from these times. For yet greater evils than those which thou hast seen happen shall be done hereafter. If you can't handle what's going on in your house, you ain't gonna handle what's getting ready to come, right? Verse 17, it say, for look how much the world shall be weaker through age, so much the more the evils increase upon them that dwell therein, right? For the time is fled away, far away, and leasing is hard at hand. For now hasteth the vision to come which thou hast seen. Right. So you want to, well, matter of fact, verse 13, Salaki, it said, now therefore set thine house in order, reprove thy people, comfort such of them as be in trouble, and now renounce corruption. So you got to set your house in order. It starts with you getting you in order, though. Right? Getting your house in order ain't just pointing the finger at your rib and telling her what she need to do and don't do. It's not just that. It starts with you. Get you together, and guess what she gonna do? She gonna look and see you doing that, and I bet you she gonna follow you and do what you doing. It's just like if you eat, if you start working out, if you go to working out every day and all the time, take care of yourself, she gonna feel uncomfortable not working out. She ain't gonna feel right if she don't join you, trying to get herself together, her body right? If you drinking all the time, she gonna follow. Her hard wiring in her is to follow you, right? So if you start being in this every day, meditating in this every day, she gonna do it. She wanna do it, right? Let's go to Ephesians. Ephesians chapter 4 and verse 26. Ephesians 4 and verse 26. Right, so it says here, be ye angry and sin not. Right, so you're gonna get angry, brothers. Right, we read the definition of bitter. It said one of the synonyms was being angry. You're gonna get angry, but don't let that anger make you sin. Right, she gonna do stuff, you gonna do stuff that might make each other upset or mad, but don't let that result in bitterness while you holding on to it. Right, it says, be ye angry and sin not, let not the sun go down upon your wrath. All right, so do that mean you can never go to bed mad? No. Do I recommend you going to bed mad with each other? I don't. Right, but let's see what that, because it say here, neither give place to the devil. So you don't want to give the opportunity for the devil to take advantage of you. But what does it mean to not let the sun go down upon your wrath? Let's go to the book of Micah. Right, Micah chapter 3 and verse 6. Let not the sun go down upon the wrath. Pastor be like, don't go to bed mad. Y'all need to talk. Oh, that ain't what it means, right? Let's go here, verse 6. It say, therefore, night shall be unto you. So he's talking to the priest of the Lord here, right? Night shall be unto you. What happens in the night you can't see, right? That ye shall not have a vision, and it shall be dark unto you, that ye shall not divine. And the sun shall go down over the prophets, and the day shall be dark over them. right? So what does that mean when it say, let not the sun go down upon your wrath? It's saying don't get angry to where you start to break the law. Don't get angry to where you start to sin, right? Be angry, but don't sin. Don't let the anger that you have cause you to not be able to see the light, which is the law, right? Don't forget the law in your anger, right? Don't get out the spirit, in other words. So let's go to 1 Corinthians. 1 Corinthians chapter 14 and verse number 20. It says, brethren, be not children in understanding. Howbeit in malice be ye children, but in understanding be men. Right? So what is Paul telling the church of Corinth? He's saying, be not a child in your understanding. This word is supposed to grow us up, take us from boys to men, right? But he said, howbeit in malice be children. What does that mean? Because a child, they fight over toys. You know, they want their way, they'll get mad, but the next day, or not even the next day, a couple hours, a few minutes later, they'll be right back playing with each other. They forget easy, they forgive easy, right? So, howbeit in malice be ye children, but in understanding be men. That's what makes us men. The fact that we able to not let our emotions get the best of us, but rather what? Have understanding, so self-control. That's teaching your woman to do the same thing, right? To gather her emotions and have self-control. When you do it, she gonna do it, right? Right? So let's get one more precept. Let's go back to 1 Peter. I want to get that one more time, right? 1 Peter 3 and verse 7. It says, likewise, ye husbands, dwell, let me blow it up, right? Likewise, ye husbands, dwell with them according to knowledge. That's what it means, and understanding be men. Know how to go in this Bible and let that be at the forefront of our relationship, right? Giving honor to the wife as the weaker vessel. She not as strong as you are. She's more susceptible to spirits than you are. And as being heirs together of the grace of life, that your prayers be not hindered, right? So be careful what you teach your wife, right? You want to teach your wife temperance, self-control, right? To not let the flesh win. These are the things that we want to teach our wives, not to just let our emotions explode and we do whatever, right? So Lord willing, you got something out of the class. All right, all honor and glory to the Most High God, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah. All right, it's Brother Nashan, New Wine Congregation of Israel, signing off. Shalom.